look at the causes and effects of the Russian Revolution. Remember, the Russian Revolution is going to cause Russia to leave World War I. All right, so the Russian Revolution is going to cause that, but let's figure out why. So we have a couple key terms in here. We have serf, an agricultural laborer bound under the feudal system to work on his lord's estate. So if you guys remember back in Global 9, you talk about peasants. Okay, a peasant and a serf are very similar, but it's not quite someone who would be considered a slave, but they're stuck in that area. A Bolshevik. Okay, so these are Russian Social Democrats. They're communists. Okay, so when we see Bolshevik, we should be thinking of communists. But a lot of times they are going to use that term interchangeably on the regions. Civil liberties are personal freedoms that are protected by law from the actions of a government. We can also talk about these are being human rights or your natural rights. This word is extremely important, abdicated. So abdicated is to resign or step down from the throne. So if you are a king and you abdicate, you are no longer going to be king. You are going to leave that. It is going to be passed to somebody else, or it's going to be dismantled completely. The Tsar is a ruler of Russia before the revolution. Can also be spelled with a T. It is still pronounced Tsar. It comes from the word Caesar. All right, but when we see that, we just need to know that this is the king. Okay, this is the Russian king. All right, there are 3 reasons for the Russian Revolution. They are peace, land, and bread. So peace. The Russian peasants want an end to World War I. They want peace. They're tired of it. They have been starving. They are watching their husbands get killed, their sons, their brothers, cousins, etc. They're over it. Land. The Russian peasants or serfs want the land that they were promised when the Tsar freed them. So when the Tsar actually gave them that freedom, he promised them land that would be theirs, but he never gave it to them. And then most importantly is going to be bread. When we see bread always used in this way, we're not talking just about like a loaf of bread, we're talking about food. Russian peasants were starving and they would do anything for the promise of food. This is going to come back every time there is any kind of major revolution or dictator takeover. The promise of food and then the actual accomplishment of giving food is always going to get that leader put in charge.